All right, so we got the Prindle shift selector light, whatever you want to call it. We got that all lit up, fixed. We know about the this display up here. We can pull it apart. Probably take a while to find the crack solder joints, but it can be done. But you can go to a junkyard, salvage yard, or eBay and get one for $50, $100. Plug and play. But now what we're doing is we're having an issue with the heater circuit for the O2 sensor. So if you go to read codes here, continuous memory, as it pulls up, come on, sorry about the glare. All right, so here, finally pulled up. We have a P0054, right? Which is the heated oxygen sensor, heater resistance, bank 1 sensor 2. So it's the one after the catalytic converter. Get this thing to focus. There, focused. Sorry about that. So P0054, heated oxygen sensor, or heated exhaust oxygen sensor, heater resistance, bank 1 sensor 2. So if you look at the get that door shut. All right, so if you look down here, there's the oxygen sensor, right? But you go to the other connector, that blue connector down there. So what I want to look at is the wiring diagram. Heated oxygen sensor 1, 2, one after the cat. That's the actual reading oxygen content part, and that's the O2 sensor, or the heater element part. So the PCM controls the ground side to it, and then it comes off, gets power. Well, I want to make sure we got power going in, and I want to check the ground side. So pin 2 is the power coming in. Well, pin 2 on here, why isn't this thing focusing? Pin 2 on here is what we're going to hook up to. We're going to see if we got power with the power probe. Right, so we got it on pin 2, which should be 12 volts DC, or battery voltage. We got it on the blue on there. We got it hooked up to our power probe. 0 volts. That's your audible tone for a ground. We're just going to turn key on, engine off. Should hear the tone change. Yep, so we got voltage. We got 13.914 volts. So we got voltage. That tells us that wire is good. So now what we're going to do is go to this side for the computer wire and check it there. Or, sorry, check it at the connector there. And we'll do the same test. We should have a ground signal this time. All right. We have no signal on the power probe. Turn the audible tone back on. I got it in pin 1 down there, which is the control side for the heater. So if I go to the scan tool and I go to active test, heated oxygen sensor, bank 1 sensor 2, it's off. But if I turn it on, that thing should beep. It's on. We're telling the computer to turn on, but I got nothing. Another thing I want to do is have my test light hooked up to battery positive. If I go to ground, it works. So I have it on still. That test light should light up, and it's not. It's on, but the test light's not lighting up. So now what I need to look at is we should have it light up there when it's controlling with the scan tool bidirectionally. Let's back probe the connector here and see if we got a good connection up there. So again, that's pin 1, which goes into the PCM computer connector, 18, T18. Well, if you look at T18 HO2 heater circuit, here's your T, you go to 18. Sorry, there's 12, so you just count to 18 over, which is this connector here. And if you look, the wire is a white with an orange tracer. So it's that one right there, right with an orange tracer. We're going to back probe that and do the same checks. All right, so I got it back probed. Piercing probe my test light to battery positive. We're on the other end of that wire to the computer. So I'm going to hit on right here. You can watch this. Hit on, the light comes on. Hit off, the light goes off. Hit on, the test light goes on. So it's on and it's on there. That tells me that the computer driver, the transistor in there, the MOSFET, is working as advertised. So what we need to do now is we have an issue between this wire, between this connector and this connector. Is it a broken wire? Is it at the back of the connector? And that's why we have that code, because it's trying to ground this to let amperage and voltage go through to heat it up, but it cannot. So we're going to take a look at that and check out the wire integrity. Alrighty, I'm back probing it, that connector to that spot. Turn that off. See, still nothing. So there's got to be a broken wire or something going on in there, or a short to ground. Maybe it's something that mechanic did, because he had the engine out. So see, it's on there. So now I got to get it back up on the lift and start chasing wiring and see why this thing ain't turning on. All right, so what I want to look at next, there's a connector 133, still white and orange. I want to check from this point back and this point back. Well, connector 133 is right here, right? Because that wire harness comes up right here, comes around, comes up here, comes around, goes up, goes to this connector. Well, white and orange is right there. So I'm on this side. Test light's not lit up, but let's turn it on. So it's on there. It's on there. So we know that from the right side of this connector to the PCM, that's good. So now we're going to check on the other side of the connector back and go from there. All right, I still got it on. I'm on the left side of that connector on this diagram now, on this side, and it lights up. I used a piercing probe, makes a tiny hole. I'll use some liquid electrical tape when I'm done. Let's go ahead and turn it off, make sure it turns off. Off, lights off. So now our issue is between this connector and that connector. If it's a wire, or if it's a connector up, maybe it's the connector up here, like I said. We'll have to go and troubleshoot it from there. Alrighty, so I got the scan tool in there, it's still got it on. I had to get under here to get to that connector. I'm just behind the connector there. Get into the side of the vehicle here. Grab my test light, should reach. Grab it here. It should light up, and it does. See? Get it back in there, there we go. So it lights up. So that tells me that the wire from here to here is good. It's in that damn connector. It's in that blue connector up there is where it's at. So we're gonna have to get a new connector and splice it in, and then that'll fix the O2 sensor P0054 code. We're gonna put a new O2 sensor in anyways, because if you look at those pins closely, I don't know if you can tell by the other video footage I did, but it looks corroded in there. So I went ahead and replaced the old O2 sensor anyways. It's only like 20 bucks, so for an NTK brand one, the OE one. But there's definitely corrosion in that connector, so we need to replace that as well. We just gotta source parts for it, and that'll be done with this vehicle. All right, well, I went ahead and cleaned the crap out of it. I don't need a new connector. I cleaned that connector up. It's kind of really hard to tell, but I cleaned all those terminals up, got all that corrosion out of there best I could. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn the scan tool back to on. If that test light lights up, we should be good to go. All right, got it on. Trying to just touch this ever so lightly. I'm not piercing into it. I'm just touching the tip. I can get in the hole there, right there. Let me do it again. I just got to find the whole story of my life. Again, so right there, it's on. Test light lights up. So that's a fix for this. Why is there corrosion in there? I honestly think it was because of, I don't know. Mechanics done a lot of shady work on this car. But I think, the guy that worked on it before, but the mechanic that worked on it before, I think when he obviously had those old O2 sensors unplugged, I'm sure it got weather to it and corrosion. So just another thing we have to fix. So it's all good now. We'll put it all back together and do a couple self checks with it. And then this vehicle will be good to go. All right, no fault codes. Everything's cleared out, running good. If you go under service, something you can look at real quick, and you go to powertrain, onboard test modes, mode 6 data. This is the tolerances, the min and max. So I'm gonna look at is the heater circuit here. Once it pulls up. Come on. All right, so let's go to sensor 1, 2, heater current. The minimum is 220 milliamps or 0.22 of an amp. The max is 3 amps. Value right now is 0.6, so we're within our specification, so we are good to go. Since I'm in the mode 6 data, let's look at cylinder 1, no misfires. Cylinder 2, no misfires. 3, no misfires. 4, no misfires. So it's all good. And like I said, we put a new O2 sensor in, and we fixed the corrosion because there's corrosion on the male pins on the O2 sensor. Plus the mechanic cut the clips off, so we re-clipped it on there so it looks significantly better. And all the corrosion's gone, so this vehicle is fixed and ready to drive again.